Hey everybody, Jeff Manchester here. Welcome to the latest Let's Plug video. Today we're going to be plugging iZotope's brand new Neutron. What is it? It's a mixing tool. It's not a mixing tool. It's a tool shed, if you will. There's so much going on here. We have two compressors, an exciter, a multi-band transient shaper. The exciter is also multi-band. Equalizer. We have machine learning, Neutrino, track assistant, masking. What does it all mean? What does what? Where's my dad? I'm going to answer some of these questions, okay, in this video. But first, I'm going to play you the audio that we're going to be working with today. Okay, I'm a composer, but I wanted to write something kind of tropical. I wanted to street it up for the kids. So anyway, let's just jump in. I've been playing with Neutron for a while, so I know it very well, and I just want to show you the best of the best. I don't want to show you all these sort of more complex applications of Neutron. You can check out other videos for that. I think iZotope will have a handful on their website, so let's just show you the best of the best. Okay, so when I open up Neutron, we have some global presets here. Bass, drum bus, drums, guitar, keys, mix bus, orchestral, which is a composer I'm excited to see, and some good post stuff. And I think these presets were designed by the same guy that does The Deadliest Catch, so they're informed by years of experience eating king crab. Now, equalizer, compressor, another compressor, an exciter, transient shaper. I can move these around so I can change the signal flow. I can call up an individual preset by clicking on this thing here, and I can call them the global presets up here. So the first thing I want to call your attention to is the masking technology within Neutron. So there's this thing, this psychoacoustic phenomenon called masking. It's basically when you have two sound sources and they're hanging out in the same space in the spectrum, and they're masking each other, so you can only hear one and you can't really hear the other very well. Imagine taking a family photo and everyone is sort of on the same level, and you can't see everybody, so you get the tall people in the back and the short people in the front, and tell grandma to kneel down or something, and then you can see everybody. Well, these are some of the things. That's a metaphor for EQing and making sure that everyone in the family photo of the song, so to speak, can be seen. Neutron has some really cool technology that allows you to better see and understand where frequency collisions are occurring. So if I have my drum track here, which I'll solo, I'm going to turn this down a little bit, just to the point where we're not peaking. I'm going to write drums right here. If I go to my bass track, I'm going to instantiate Neutron, just like that, just double click, pops right up. I'm going to write bass. Why am I doing this? Let me show you. Right now, this looks like any other plugin, but check out what happens when we turn on masking. I'm going to turn on masking, and I'm going to go to my bass, because I've called it bass. I haven't called any of the other ones anything else yet, but bass right there. So now we have two EQs that pop up. Now remember, we're on the drum track, but I'm going to play the drums. We have some stuff popping up right here. iZotope calls these the Northern Lights, and this is basically information about where the bass is hitting. There's the bass. So we have some information here in the upper cycles and a lot of information down here. And this little thing indicates where we have some frequency collision, so probably around 60 hertz. And we can change this too. Piano roll, flat log, linear, extended log. I like the piano roll a lot. So let's solve this problem. Let's make sure that the bass and the kick get along. So I'm going to make a decision here, because I can see that my kick is right here, and there's a lot of bass happening there too. So I'm just going to say, you know what, at about 60 hertz, I'm going to make a boost. And now I'm going to go into my bass track and go to 60 hertz or so and make a dip, just so the bass cuts through. Or just so the kick cuts through, sorry. And you notice this here? This is the EQ for the bass. And this is not a ghost EQ. This is a fully functional EQ that's talking to the other Neutron that I have. Because if I turn this node up here at 3, just for the example, and bring up Neutron here, you can see that my cut is right there, and my boost is right here. So these two are talking to each other, and you'll notice I haven't routed anything. I haven't opened up the I/O once to sort of, all in, send this to that. These are communicating with each other in a language only intelligible to bull terriers. It's in the manual. I read it. So I'm going to just hit Option and not Option, but just double click that, and then it returns to its normal position. Now, I want the bass to poke through, so I'm going to make a little choice here. I'm going to go and hit inverse link on, and watch what happens. When I dip this down, watch what happens to the 3 at the bottom here. When I dip this down, the bass comes up. So I'm cutting and boosting in the exact same place. So now why don't we do a little bypass. So here's before we made our cut. Listen to how the kick and the bass are kind of missing. You know what I mean? They're there, but we don't really hear them. They're not very present. Here's after. Before. After. Let's check out some other really cool technology within Neutron, which is the track assistant. Over to my vocal track. If I solo this, you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, I'm going to name this vocal just for the sake of housekeeping. Now, track assistant, what is it? Well, track assistant listens to the incoming audio and then will make a suggestion based on, I guess, the qualities of the sound and everything, and it'll make some changes to the compressor, the exciter, and sort of say, hey, this might sound really cool. Think of it as a kind of just a second opinion to go, listen, here's what might work. And a lot of people have been sort of groaning about this, going, this is going to kill the mixing engineer. And no one is holding a gun to your head saying you have to use Track Assistant. It's a non-static preset. Presets are the way that they are. They're built. They're designed for just sort of a quick glance at what the sound could sound like with a different sort of EQ, a different compressor setting, blah, blah, blah. All this does is it's a bit more intelligent. It's non-static, and it's recommending something for you. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I can go to Track Assistant here, and I can choose the mode. We can do something subtle, medium, or aggressive. We have 3 presets here: broadband clarity, warm and open, upfront, mid-range. I'm just going to leave it on broadband clarity. I'm going to leave it on medium. I'm going to press the button here. So it's going to listen to the audio for about 4 to 10 seconds and make some choices. So now it's made those choices for us. I'll turn down the output a little bit. So this is before. This is after. So I can see right here, right away, in the before, on the EQ, if you just look here past the bypass, we had some resonant peaks, okay? And what Track Assistant did was it said, I'm going to apply some dynamic nodes here to take care of those peaks. And that's very easy to do, by the way. If you just call up a node here, I can just click on this, and you see that I have 2 options here. This is sort of a static node or dynamic. I can turn it to dynamic, and it turns into a little bit of a shield, and I can go compress or expand right there. If I turn off dynamic, it defaults back to the static thing. So I'm just going to double click that, return that. So it's listening to these peaks and going, let's just duck them a little bit. And it also added a bit of air here. If I like this, I can keep it. If I don't, I can change it. Like I said, no one's holding a gun to my head saying I have to use what Track Assistant recommended. It's done some compression. We have the 2 compressors enabled here. We have the exciter as well enabled. I'm not going to go into these too much because, it's a whole other tutorial, but The one thing I want to draw your attention to as well is, check this out. I mean, we have parallel mixing here. We have knobs where we can affect the dry wet signal of everything, which is so cool. So if you only want a little bit of excitement, which is all I ask for going into my 30s, a little bit of excitement. Compressor, mix. We can just dial them in, do some parallel EQ as well. We can do that. Let's see what it's, let's reset all this stuff. I'm going to go to the history mode here, and you can see I have in here all the moves that I made, okay? The track assistant, I was bypassing, I was messing around doing the dynamic little preview of the EQ nodes. I'm going to go to the initial state right there, and that just gets rid of everything that I did. Let's open track assistant and let's go aggressive, and let's choose upfront mid-range and see what that does. So we have to play the audio and hit track assistant. Here we go. So we already hear right away that that's way more intense. And we're almost getting a really cool telephone effect, right? So here's the before. So it opens up quite a bit. Let's hear it in the mix. Again, I can choose to, keep it or leave it, whatever. The other thing is if I hit track assistant again on a more subtle setting, I want to call your attention to something else. See what Neutrino did? Neutrino is able to detect the audio that was passing through it, and it knew that I was playing some vocals. And this is because I think iZotope have fed in millions and millions of samples of people singing to this sort of machine learning side of Neutron to say, hey, this sounds like a vocal. And you're able to sort of dial in the amount of the signal you want to send to Neutrino, and then you can sort of apply some, if you saw my video review for Neutrino, low ratio compression, multi-band compression across, I think 24 bands or maybe 30. I forget which one it is quite. But anyway, I should also point out that above this we have a limiter. You see that little orange band come over? So we're getting some reduction in gain there. We have these IRLs, intelligent release controls, and these are right from Ozone, right? And you can use these to your taste. But I think it's really cool that we can use IRCs in a mixing sort of environment. You can see that it can get pretty intense. So, I mean, I can name all of these tracks. So I can go into my piano and flute and then sort out sort of the masking issues that are happening there. I've named all my tracks now, so they all show up here when I hit masking. So I got my flute right there. Masking, just pop that open and then hit play. We see some buildup right here. It's saying, you know what, the flute is kind of clashing with the piano at about 1,000 hertz and above. Some information down here too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accentuate. I'm going to go to my EQ here. I'm going to open this bottom panel. Choose a band shelf. I think I'm going to just sort of boost this up here and maybe bring the shelf up a little bit here too. I'm going to hit inverse link because I see a lot of action here. So you see, as soon as I lower that, the flute really comes through. Before and after. Okay, so we've done a lot of subtractive EQing and unmasking and all the rest of it. I just want to point out one thing about Neutron, and that it's very helpful for sound design too. I mean, it is, after all, a mixing plugin, so you can really affect and shape the sound to your liking. And I want to sort of bring that to your attention using the Transient shaper, which I think should get a bit more love and attention. So I'm going to put the guitar track on here. So it's a very sort of plodding, simple guitar melody. And if I have the Transient shaper on here, I can turn on these different bands. Watch what happens. I'm going to put the Learn feature on. It's going to sort of figure out how to salami up the frequency spectrum here. And you guys know what Transient shapers do, right? They just sort of bring out, or they take away or attenuate the crest of the transient. So we can see this little meter jump here, depending on how I manipulate the attack. I can bring down the attack, so it's going to sort of lessen the intensity of the attack of that transient, the crest of that transient. I can bring it up here like that. And I can mess with my bands here to make them sort of sharper or smoother. And I can bring out the sustain or reduce the sustain. I like to be pretty aggressive with my Transient shaper. Gotta watch our metering, right, so that we don't peak or anything. So now we're getting more of the physicality of the instrument, which I love. I love when you can bring out the physicality and you can hear the player plucking and strumming and stuff. Just bring down the input a little bit. So this is really sort of brought to life the physicality of the instrument. And also, I can go down here into Neutrino and select the guitar to sort of add another layer of sound design and manipulation here. I haven't really done anything with the EQ. It's all the Transient shaper. So when I bypass this, have a listen to the before and after. So the before, it sounds good because it's a good sample, but after, I think it really brings it to life. Here's after. I bring the exciter into the mix too. Some presets here. Not presets, but some categories here. This is also multiband. I can hit learn again. It's going to figure out where things are in the spectrum and salami it up. You can choose between these different categories of excitement. This is just adding harmonics, right, to our sound. We don't want to go too hard on this. Add some drive here to the mids, because with guitars, all the action is in the mids. Let's go tube for that. Of course, I can blend it in here. It's very tweakable. I can blend in these exciters. And then I can do further parallel blending up here with the sort of global knob there. Let's make this tube as well. Just bringing these down a little bit. You know, do a global bypass before and after. Let's hear it in the mix. 2, 3. Of course, if I'm not happy with this, I'll just go initial state, and I'll be like, well, maybe let's see what the assistant thinks. So I'll play this. This is before Neutron made its track assistant decisions. And after. It's a little bright for my taste. But I'm happy that it's taken some attention to these resonant peaks here and sort of pushed them down a little bit. And it said, hey, the guitar action is in the mids, so let's accentuate them a little bit. And again, we get that physicality back. Before and after. Okay, so that's a quick and dirty preview, review, overview of Neutron. I think there's an intro price right now, so get it off the website, really learn about it, get into it, and hopefully it'll make your mixes sound better. And yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, take it easy, write a comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for watching.